Hello everyone and welcome to HiveMind's Creative Accountability Program. In this video, I'll be taking you through the aspects of the program, some of the topics we're going to be covering, what you can take away, and how to best apply it to your project. My name's Blake. Let's get started. Welcome everyone. So, what have you just signed up for? I've developed this video series to help people establish a firmer sense of a creative lifestyle. What I mean by that is I'm hoping that in this video series, in this accountability series, I can give you the information and skills necessary to include creativity as a regular part of your lifestyle. Now, for whatever reason, you may have been creative before, you may be creative now, you may be wanting to be creative in the future, but for whatever reason, life has pulled you away and life has encroached with its various stresses and commitments, and creativity has often been pushed aside, kind of pushed away to make priority for these things. That's okay, we've all been in that situation. What I'm hoping with these videos is that we can all take away little bits of information to add to our own mission and our own journey of creativity, so we can include more consistency and progression towards completing our creative projects. Really what I'm asking from you over the next 6 months in particular is a firm commitment to yourself to practice these things that we're talking about in the video, even if maybe you don't quite agree with them at the start, they may be a bit different to your creative practices. You may find it's an acquired taste and be able to incorporate something into your creative medium that you weren't otherwise expecting. I'm really encouraging you all to make this commitment to yourself. Don't make it to me, don't make it to anyone else outside of your environment. Your creative environment, your creative goals should really be a negotiation between yourself with yourself. And what I mean by that is setting them in regards to your lifestyle commitments, to your work commitments, all the things around you that pull you in many different directions. What we're trying to do is get creativity as one of those firm staples in your week. This is a course of habit building, which means that it's going to be very difficult to sustain the behaviors into habits. Now, what I mean by that is for the first 5.5 months, we can all practice these behaviors. We can be sitting down to write more, we can be reading more, speaking more creatively, engaging in all these different ways. But as soon as we come to the 6th month, or what I mean by that is that period where we start to get tired of the monotony, maybe, of this new behavior that we're trying to incorporate. And it's incredibly important that when we come to that point of elevating behaviors to habits, that we stick in with the same consistency and the same persistence that we've been showing to really drum it home. Now, this is going to give you a great base to start off on, and it's designed to give you a good base to be more inspired, to progress inspired ideas into drafts or manuscripts, and then even how to take that manuscript and complete it and get it over that final line, oftentimes the most difficult part of the creative process. This program and the videos included in it really are all centered on establishing a consistent engagement with creativity. And what we mean by that at HiveMind is engaging with creativity can come through many different ways. That's not just output, not just sitting at your computer to write 500, 1,000, 2,500 words, whatever your goal, whatever your ability is, but engaging in creative reading, engaging in creative conversation, engaging in creative writing, in the sense that you may be writing something that is completely outside of your wheelhouse. If you're a poet, I really encourage you to write maybe free verse or perhaps even a short story, and push yourself into these environments where you otherwise would say that you're not more comfortable in, right? And by doing that, I really think that we can increase our holistic creative ability by exposing ourselves to different mediums and different philosophies of creativity. I'm hoping you'll use this program and actually walk a project you have alongside this content, and you apply the techniques that we're talking about in each different video to your own project. That's really what it's intended for. It's meant to establish a sense of creativity in your lifestyle, sure, but when you have something that you can actually work on and apply these techniques to, we'll find that we get a lot more traction from the concepts, and that you're able to incorporate them a lot easier, and you're able to find out what really works for you and what really doesn't, so that in this process of learning your own procedures really, and your own abilities and capabilities, you're able to identify what techniques really help you and then quickly get rid of the ones that aren't helping you at all. What I really want to encourage out of all of you, and starting right now, is a firm commitment to yourself. Right, and a firm commitment to yourself that you're going to apply these behaviors into your lifestyle and try to be more creative. Try to make more time for that stapled creative session. Now, I would push you to say at the start, we're trying to do that every single day. We're trying to do it every single day in a 15-minute session. And if we're sitting down every single day for a 15-minute session, sometimes you'll find those 15 minutes drag on, feel like an hour, hour and a half. But other times the 15 minutes can turn into 2 hours of blackout creativity, maybe just straight output. And if you hadn't have had that time to sit down as a staple, you wouldn't have otherwise discovered that creativity within yourself. So really we're talking about being hyper conscious of all of your behaviors, hyper conscious of our consumptions, meaning what are we taking in at all the time. We're taking stuff in to fuel our creative energy. If we're taking in negativity, if we're taking in things that otherwise devalue creativity, then we are going to start devaluing creativity. If we take in really positive things and speak with really positive people, also asking us about our practices, asking about our content, asking about our inspirations, we start to feel very positive, and it's this great cycle that leads upwards. That all comes from the basis of that commitment to yourself, and that self-commitment of, I am going to be hyper-conscious in my holistic creative lifestyle when applying these behaviors to elevate them to habits. With our help and with this program, you'll be able to persevere through the discomfort of your creativity and really establish that consistency necessary to experience that regular progression and eventually completion. This program will help you put the armor around yourself that when life starts to pull you in other directions, you'll have the sense of mind to be able to appropriately align yourself on your creative mission and set that time with integrity to be creative at a time that works for you. Something that is very individual, very personal, something, again, you have to commit to yourself. In the initial stages of this program, we're going to show you how to set your own goals, how to identify your creative mission, and how to put the structures around yourself to make sure that you're actually applying those things that you've set. It's fantastic to write a great plan, but if you let it simmer and sit there for months on end, you may as well have done nothing at all. We're really going to teach you the balance between when you need to work and when you need to rest, and in more of a moderated sense, when you need to give it 110%. When I'm saying this word lifestyle, and I mean that, what is your actual limitations that you're able to invest into your creative energy? We can all compare our lives and different struggles we experience and the different things that pull us our way from being creative. However, it's definitely within us to be able to prioritize and set a regular time, even if it isn't every day. I mean, it's what we push for this program, but we also push to set goals that are achievable within your lifestyle. So if you are a mother of three, single mother of three, working full time, your access to time to be actually creative, when we take into account all of the mountain of things that come with running that lifestyle or operating that lifestyle. When we think about all the other things that are involved with that lifestyle, the travel, the cooking, the extracurriculars involved in that, we can start to see that the time allowed or available for creativity is actually very small, say compared to the second year uni student who doesn't have to work and is just studying, has a lot more time on their hands to be creative than the single mother of three. But again, even in those two comparisons, we see how type of a fruitless activity it is, because we could do that exercise individual to individual forever. And even this hypothetical second year university student may still have the perception that she doesn't have time to invest into creativity. And that's really what we're addressing in the early stages, is how to address your perceptions of what time is available to you and actually try and set that, and then how to stick to that. Again, your creative practice throughout this program doesn't refer to output. We're not really concerned in the accountability of the amount of words you're producing. So you can put that goal on yourself. That's fantastic. I want to be producing 1,000 words a week, 2,500 words a week, 5,000 words a week, whatever is capable within your capabilities. But really what we're more concerned about is that you're engaging with creativity, that you're reading creatively, you're writing in another medium creatively that's not related to your project. And what I mean by that is quite literally writing with a blank page, setting out and starting something you don't even know what you're doing really. Those activities really, for me anyway, really stimulate that voice within me, and I sometimes get these ideas that feel like they're from left field, and I think if I didn't do that activity, I wouldn't have had that inspirations. And engaging in creative conversation, so talking to others about their practices, about their content, about their subjects, about their inspiration, whatever you can muster in this creative world to talk about is all consumptions and all things that we're doing to nourish our own creative energy as a part of just expending it, and just thinking that creativity is pure output, and just thinking that we are a measurement of that output. Is that one thing that I've experienced definitely throughout my creative journey, is that yes, I may have days where I produce 200, 300 words, but I also have a day where I produce 5,000 or 7,000 words, and just a massive type of dam unlocks. But if I didn't spend the 10, 200 word days leading up to that, I wouldn't have had the practice or the creative foundation to really hit my stride in that large output day. And that's why we at HiveMind focus on engagement. The rest will come. The output will come. The consistency, the progression, that will all come if you regularly engage with creativity. If you read creatively, speak creatively, or write outside of your medium. With habit building, there's an analogy I like to use that's a fork in the road analogy. It's a fork in the road of a sand dune, and a sand dune is a really hilly sand hill. So you come to this fork in the road, and this fork in the road is a decision to do a behavior or not do a behavior. And when we first came to this fork in the road, let's call it to be creative or not to be creative, is that when we present ourselves with that and we pick a way, let's say this way is to not be creative and this way is to be creative. The first time we experience this and we go down the not creative path, we lay a layer of gravel behind us, if you can imagine that. Then the second time we come to that same fork in the road, should I be creative over here, or should I engage with quote unquote the demands of life, lifestyle stresses, and all the other things that come with being a 21st century citizen, and the things that pull us away from this type of recreation and creativity? If we take that path again and we walk that gravel road, we now lay a soft layer of bitumen. And you can see where I'm going, is that the behavior that we choose more and more consistently will become easier, to the point where we're not even conscious of choosing the behavior. We're habitually, almost reactively going down that path without even considering it. Because repeating this process again and again and again leaves us with, when we come to the decision to be creative or not to be creative, we're confronted with a runway. Well lit, all arrows pointing down, run this way, really fast, really easy. And on this side, we are still presented with the soft, sandy hill. And to walk this is going to be very uncomfortable, especially compared to running this. But to walk this, we again begin to lay our layer of gravel. The next time we're presented with the opportunity to be creative, we have our runway, everything in us telling us to walk away from the computer, go watch Netflix, go get a beer, go call your friends, go do anything else. And we walk that gravel road, you will lay a layer of bitumen. And you'll find that every time you come to that fork in the road and you choose the more difficult option, this is the behavior that we're trying to instill within us, it will become easier and easier to choose that behavior, and it will become easier and easier to practice that behavior. One of the key practices I need you to do during this program, as well as make the commitment to yourself, is be extremely diligent with your note taking. I want you to record your creative sessions, even if nothing comes out, but record when you're sitting down, how long you're sitting down for, and what you did. All right? So by doing this, we're able to, when we recall back on this information throughout the program, we're able to see a really consistent metric of measurement, really, of what we're looking for, the things that we were struggling with at the beginning, how we're engaging with creativity. If we find that we're reading for 3 weeks, maybe it's time to consciously add in a writing day or a writing session where we push ourselves to have some output. It's good to look at all these things and be honest with ourselves and not get in the trap of doing 3 months of everyday reading but not progressing on our project at all. That's not what we're really about. We're about recognizing that engagement is key, but really engagement is key to fuel our creativity. We also want to set your desire. So we've talked about in our core videos about your creative mission, the thing that keeps you motivated at the keyboard beyond each individual project, the overarching philosophy that you're trying to address with everything that you do in creativity. We need to set your desire on the project extremely clear as well. Is that if you want to develop a project, that is what you'll be focused on. If you want to complete a project, that is also what you'll be focused on. And setting that desire with an extreme specificity is extremely helpful to your progression. Meaning that if you want to produce a novel by the end of the year, so to speak, you can take the raw end sum of words, break it down over the months. That's what you have to produce over each month. Setting your desire extremely closely like that. So specifically is when you think you set your desire for this project and the singular focus of what you're sitting down for this project to complete. So again, a little bit different to your creative mission. Your desire is for the project. Once we've allocated our desire, try and flesh it out that little bit more. Try and be more specific. Try and add in how you're going to feel when you complete this desire or when you achieve this desire. All these things in this affirmation building really helps to keep us focused on the long-term gratification exercise that we're practicing here. Because at the beginning, it's fantastic, it feels great. You just come up with a brand new idea, you're telling all your friends about it, they're excited, but now we have the actual hard part of writing it, and maybe the harder part of sitting down alone in a room with very little feedback loops until nearing the end of the process. So setting that desire and keeping yourself motivated to that desire is extremely important from the very beginning. Now, I'll be here every step of the way, and you can reach out to me and ask me questions about the program, ask me questions about a whole bunch of things going on here at HiveMind Press. But really, it's going to be on what you want to get out of it, and that intrinsic motivation, that intent and purpose that you bring to this program is going to be a direct correlation to what you get out of this program. And the clearer you can be with that in terms of developing a more creative lifestyle, progressing your project, developing for publishing, whatever you're interested in. Why I ask you to make the commitment to yourself to be hyper conscious with your behaviors in creativity over the next 6 months is because this is a self game. This is an isolated, self-managed, self-evaluative game. You set your own goals, you set your own desires, you set your own workload. It's incredibly important that you remain on your own side and that you remain positive with yourself. And that you are able to set goals that by looking at your accurate and honest record keeping, that you're able to actually make those goals, because the process of repeatedly missing goalposts that we set for ourselves ultimately generates very negative feelings and doesn't allow us to really be consistent, or doesn't give us the best potential to be consistent for the long time that we need to complete our projects and to progress our creative mission. So everyone, I'm really excited to have you here with us in HiveMind's Creative Accountability Program. Again, you can reach out to me at any point. We're going to be serving these videos to you regularly. The next one will be coming in 3 days and focuses on how to get started right now. So how to take any idea and simply start. Don't overthink, just get into it.